morning, everyone. Welcome to E-Door to the World. I'm Rachel. If you listened to our podcast last semester, you must be familiar with today's teacher. Let's welcome teacher Alex.
Hi, everybody. I'm Alex, and I'm a teacher at Dachen Junior High, and I'm happy to be here.
Our topic today is culture shock. Teacher Alex, what is the meaning of culture shock?
Culture shock is when you go to a new country or you see a different culture and you are shocked or surprised. For example, when people come to my home, Canada, they are often surprised by the snow and cold weather. It can be really cold in Canada. Have you traveled to other countries before?
Yes, I have been to Hawaii, Japan, China, and Bali.
Did you have any culture shock? What was different?
The most surprising thing was that when we came to a restaurant in Bali, the tour guide told us, "Please eat with your hands. That's what we usually do here." And I thought, wow, amazing. And we did as the Romans do. It's kind of special experience. What about you? Did you have culture shock when you came to Taiwan?
Well, I came to Taiwan 3 years ago in 2020. So I have been here a fairly long time, and I am very used to Taiwan now. But when I first came here, there was one thing that gave me culture shock. It was the roads. In Taoyuan, you often have to walk on the road because there are no sidewalks. When I first came here, I was always scared and nervous walking around because I thought people would hit me with their scooters or cars.
Teacher Alex, can you share some stories about culture shock?
Sure. Today I have a fun article about people who moved to Australia. It's called Migrants to Australia Share Their Stories of Culture Shock. In the article, they talk about the culture shock they experienced in Australia. Rachel, did you read the article?
Yes, and I think we can share some with students. The first one is shops open too late and close too early.
Yes, I think people in Taiwan will think this is interesting. In the article, an American woman wanted to go for a walk and buy some food around 5 or 6 a.m., but everything was closed. She did not realize that at that time, almost everything is closed in Australia. I feel like in Canada, although some restaurants are open then, things are usually closed that early in the morning too. But here in Taiwan, you can always go to Family Mart or 7-Eleven, so it's very, very convenient.
And the second one is so many cuisines. But where's the rice?
In this part, a man from Hong Kong said he always had to cook rice because most restaurants didn't have it. And a woman from Malaysia said that bread, potatoes, and wheat are the main foods in Australia, so there isn't a lot of rice. But in Taiwan, rice is everywhere, and in a lot of restaurants like teppanyaki or ruchao, you can eat as much as you want. In Canada, rice is pretty common, but people in Taiwan might be surprised that we often eat different kinds of rice because we eat rice from many different places and cultures.
The third one is neighbors are often strangers.
A woman from Vietnam talked about this, and she said that in Australia, neighbors often don't know each other, and they really don't chat very often. I think in Canada, it's the same, although every neighborhood and person is different. For example, my mom is really good friends with her neighbors. Do you think people know their neighbors in Taiwan?
Well, I think if you live in the city, it may be hard for you to know your neighbors because everyone is too busy. But if you live in the country, it's common that everyone knows each other. The last one is strict about time, relaxed about money.
I think this part of the article was the most interesting. In it, 2 men from different parts of Africa were surprised because in Australia, you cannot be late. For example, if you start work at 8 a.m., you must go to work at 8 a.m. Canada is the same. But the interesting thing was that one man said that in Ghana, you usually can't take time off, and if you do, you'll maybe lose your job. And then he said if you need a job, you maybe will not find a job for 3 or 4 years in his country. But the other man said he was surprised you need a job at all in Australia because where he is from, you grow your own food and don't need a lot of money to live. But you cannot do this in Australia or Canada.
Wow, we learned about a lot of different cultures today. Teacher, what surprised you the most?
I think what surprised me most was the 2 men from Africa who talked about work. Because I've lived in North America and Asia, a lot of these stories were really familiar. But because I have never been to anywhere in Africa, it was really interesting to hear about some of its cultures. It made me want to learn more. What about you?
Well, shops open too late and close too early blew my mind, because some stores are always open here in Taiwan. It's hard to imagine that I couldn't buy things at the store at about 5 or 6 in the morning.
It's activity time.
Okay, now let's look at today's words. Teacher Alex, what's your first word?
My first word is culture shock.
Culture shock, 文化冲击.
My second word is sidewalk.
Sidewalk, 人行道.
And my last word is stranger.
Stranger, 陌生人. Teacher, can you make sentences with these words?
Sure. The first sentence is, the roads in Taiwan were a big culture shock. The second is, the sidewalks in Canada are very big. And the last sentence is, don't talk to strangers. All right, so I have a discussion question. What is something in Taiwan that you think would give foreigners culture shock? Write down your answers and send your worksheets to the Google form. You may win a big prize later. For more information, please visit Taoyuan ETRC website or Facebook page. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you learned something new, and we look forward to sharing more about culture with you this school year.
This program is sponsored and brought to you by Taoyuan ETRC.
See you next time.